You've spent a long time judging yourself, maybe longer than you even realize. Every single choice you've ever made, every memory that still stings when it surfaces, every regret that keeps you up at night, it's all been held up like evidence in some endless trial running inside your own mind. This decision was good, that one was bad. Here you were noble, almost holy. There you were shameful, weak, unworthy. You've tried so hard to sort your entire life into these neat piles of right and wrong, hoping that if you could just stack up enough right choices, enough good deeds, enough proof of your worthiness, then finally, you'd feel at peace, you'd feel clean, you'd feel like you belong. And yet even after all that sorting, all that measuring, all that inner accounting, peace hasn't come, has it? Not the deep, unshakable kind anyway. You look back on your past and still see those places that make you wince, those moments that tighten your chest even now. Words you said that you wish you could take back, relationships you handled so poorly, paths you walked down that now seem like dead ends you should have seen coming. Sometimes in your quietest moments, you catch yourself wishing you could go back, rewind the tape, erase whole chapters of your story, start over with a cleaner slate. If only you could unsay those things, undo those actions, unlive those failures, then maybe you'd finally be okay. If any of this feels familiar, if you recognize that courtroom in your head where you're always prosecutor, defendant, and judge all at once, stay with this next part, really stay. Because what you're about to hear draws from insights shared across mystical and non-dual traditions. It isn't some cheap excuse for anything you've done. It's not permission to shrug off consequences or pretend harm didn't happen. No, this is a perspective echoed in code-David teachings worldwide. A completely different way of seeing what your life has really been all along. A way that might finally let you lay down some of that weight you've been carrying alone. Think back to the very beginning, to the moment you first became aware of yourself as a separate person in this world. From that early age, long before you could think critically or question what you were taught, the world around you began dividing everything into opposites. This is good, this is evil, this is light, this is dark, success, failure, worthy, unworthy, safe, dangerous. You were given names and labels for things long before you had the tools to feel their deeper reality for yourself. Mystics across traditions have long observed that this mental splitting, good versus evil, is the mind's first habit, creating duality where there was originally wholeness. You learn to fear certain desires bubbling up inside you, to chase others as if your life depended on it. You learn to measure every single thing you did against rules and expectations, some spoken, some unspoken, that you didn't even create, rules from family, from culture, from religion, from society itself. And slowly, without you even noticing, you internalized all of it. You became your own strict enforcer. Stop for a moment and go underneath all of that, right back before the first label was ever pinned on you, before the first judgment was ever formed. There was something far more simple, far more real, something that no teaching could touch and no rule could define. The quiet fact that you are aware that you exist, that there is a living, breathing presence right at the center of your experience. One that cannot be reduced to any word, any judgment, any category, any story you've told about yourself. Non-dual wisdom traditions point out that this pure awareness is the ground of being itself, prior to all duality, holding every experience without division. It simply is. You might call it your soul, your spirit, your deeper self. The real you ancient voices across time have called it by 1,000 names. But whatever name feels right to you, or even if you have no name for it, you know it in your own quiet way. It's that still point inside you, that unchanging awareness that has watched every single scene of your life unfold from your earliest joys to your hardest nights, without ever once becoming those scenes. Poet and teachings describe this as the witness consciousness, unchanging amid change, whole amid fragmentation. It has been there through the laughter, the tears, the pride, the shame, always watching, always present, never swayed. Stay with us. Please like and subscribe. Gratitude.
That same presence has been right there with you. In your finest moments and your darkest hours. It was watched you reach out in real kindness when your heart felt open and generous. It has watched you lash out in anger when fear or hurt took over the wheel. It has witnessed you choose what looked noble, selfless, even heroic. And it has witnessed you choose what looks selfish, short-sighted, even cruel. Through every high and every low, every victory and every crash, something in you has remained completely unchanged. A silent witness, never broken by your failures, never inflated or made arrogant by your successes, steady as a mountain through every kind of weather. Here is the first quiet truth, echoed in mystical teachings worldwide. What you've been calling good and evil in your life, these are not final verdicts on who you are, nor eternal substances at war. They are experiences your human mind, your human heart, has had on its long, winding way towards understanding something much deeper. Non-dual perspectives describe good and evil as poles within one field of consciousness, like light and shadow appearing in the same awareness, teaching through contrast. They're like the bright, sunny days and the fierce storms of one continuous journey. They feel so utterly different in the moment, one welcoming, one punishing, but they all take place under the same vast, unchanging sky. You might be thinking right now, hold on, I knew what I was doing back then. I chose wrong. I hurt people, I hurt myself. Doesn't that count? Yes, absolutely, choices have real consequences. Pain is real. The ripple effects of what we do touch lives far beyond our own. There is nothing here to minimize what you've lived through or what others have endured because of you. That would be dishonest. But if you're willing, look just a little closer at how those choices actually came about. Something mystical views of sin have illuminated for centuries. Really see the human reality behind them. Every single wrong turn, every decision you now look back on with regret, grew out of a particular state of consciousness you were living in at that exact moment. Maybe it was fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear of being seen as weak. Maybe it was unchecked desire for comfort, for control, for validation, for escape. Maybe confusion clouded everything, or old wounds spoke louder than your better judgment. Or maybe it was just plain longing for love, for safety, for belonging, for relief from some inner ache you couldn't name. Many spiritual traditions frame this as the fall into separation, acting from the illusion of being alone, cut off self rather than an expression of the whole. You were reaching for something real, something vital, but in that moment you went looking in places, through actions, that could never truly deliver what your soul was starving for. You chased shadows on the wall, mistook them for light, called them home, and then hated yourself when they dissolved into nothing. Now here is the second truth, drawn from Gospels and with wisdom. Even in those exact moments, your most misguided, painful, self-sabotaging moments, the deeper presence within you was not absent. It was not shocked into silence. It was not surprised or disappointed or ready to abandon ship. No, it was quietly, patiently learning through you, letting you test every illusion, every false promise, every dead-end road until you could finally see them for what they really were. Mystics teach that consciousness evolves precisely through these tensions, good and evil, as the friction revealing our underlying unity. Picture your life as one long, dusty road stretching out behind you. Along that road, you followed so many signs that glittered with promises of happiness. This way to pleasure, control, admiration, revenge, escape, this will finally make you whole. Some of those signs led you into beautiful fields for a season. Others straight into dead ends, thorny thickets, or dry washes with no water. Some felt like victory at the time, then quietly faded. Others crashed hard and left scars. But every single time you hit a wall, every time you followed a false promise and ended up hollow and disappointed, something essential in you woke up just a little more, didn't it? Stay with me here. Can you remember even one specific time when you did something you now consider wrong? Something you'd give anything to redo? And later, from the pain or clarity or fallout of that choice, wasn't some new understanding born? Maybe a relationship finally came into focus. You saw it clearly for the first time. Maybe a lie you've been telling yourself became impossible to believe anymore. Maybe a hidden need, a deep ache beneath your behavior, revealed itself like dawn breaking. In that moment of raw seeing, didn't you feel that strange, bittersweet mix? The sorrow of what had been lost or broken, and the relief of finally waking up to something truer. Like, subscribe.
You might still be wondering, okay, but so is nothing actually evil? Does nothing really matter then? Let that question sit for a breath. The answer, as non-dual and mystical teachings clarify, is it matters deeply. What you do shapes your mind, your heart, your relationships. The world around you. Harm causes real suffering. Betrayal leaves scars. But here's the ancient truth echoed across tenderly paths. No act, however dark, has the power to separate you from the presence at your core. It can obscure your awareness of that presence with shame, fear, denial, but it cannot destroy it. Seeing beyond duality doesn't negate morality, it reveals deeper responsibility to the whole. There is something in you too vast, too eternal to be stained. You might feel unworthy hearing this, but listen. The longing to be clean, whole, true. That ache flows straight from the deeper presence. A lie doesn't crave truth. Only what's aligned with truth hungers this way. That's proof. So what does this mean for your life right now? Tomorrow morning? It means stopping the endless inner courtroom where you're judge, jury, prisoner. You were born to wake up, To see false from real and live from real, non-duality calls this the end of suffering, perceiving from wholeness, not division. Practically shift from fixating on actions to the consciousness behind them. Next time a painful choice surfaces, pause, breathe, ask, what was I believing then about myself, life, others? What did I fear losing? What was I protecting? What did I truly crave? Safety, love, worth. You're not excusing harm, you're tracing it to root, like following a weed to soil. A core awakening practice. When you see clearly, awareness can reach there. Awareness is sunlight in darkness, it reveals without fighting. Bring it to old fears, and next time that pattern triggers, feel the space, a breath where truth becomes visible. That's freedom tasting real. The lived non-duality traditions describe. This reaches others too. Judged someone harshly, see them as your younger self, trapped in unseen fears, reaching for love through broken filters. Boundaries matter, consequences too, but compassion grows naturally. This stops here, and they're not beyond this presence. Good and evil, our story ends on life's surface, pointing to harmony or pain beneath his awareness, holding all like paper under ink. You're not just story, you're the witness. This insight ends division. The more you see this, the less shame rules. Face harm done, harm received. Let it fuel awakening, not bury you. That presence watched every step, joys, heartbreaks, kindness, cruelty, never turning away. It's here now, holding this breath. Your invitation, next 3 days, catch good evil labels, pause, breathe. Ask what you really saw, choose clearer now. You're not your actions, you're awakening through them. If this stirred quiet truth in you, hit like, it helps others find this path. We're waking together. Thank you for listening. Please like, please subscribe. Gratitude.